know who was the happiest person who ever lived? The answer is in the Bible. It was Jesus. Scripture tells us the following of Jesus Christ. You love justice. You hate evil. Therefore, O God, your God has anointed you, pouring out the oil of joy on you more than anyone else. That's Hebrews 1:9. Millions of people today in our culture, they reject not Jesus, but a caricature of him. For countless millions of people, the person of Jesus Christ conjures up images of a poker face, kind of a wimpy, somewhat strange type of bearded killjoy who never smiled, appeared somewhat emaciated, and had these chubby little cherubs floating about his head, along with a glowing frisbee. What a distortion of the true Son of God. You know, my friend Mike Bickle says, most people think of Jesus as mainly sad and mainly mad, but rarely glad. Now, the reason Jesus was so joyful and happy is he followed the will of God. And we've got to watch out in these days for deception. In an era of increasing deception from computer-enhanced cover girls, phony photos, and backgrounds on dating sites, plus reality shows that aren't real after all, we got to be vigilant. In the New Testament, Jesus warned us that at the end of the age, right before his return, the number one signpost would be deception. It says it 3 times in Matthew 24, 1-10. Now, in 1964, there was an epic 3-hour film. It was called The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. The opening line began in the film, and it said this, quote, "The 2 biggest questions in history are, 1, how Rome rose, and 2, how Rome fell. This is the story. It was not an event, but a process. It didn't happen overnight." Now, evil that brings destruction follows a pattern. First comes accommodation, then acceptance, and then adoption. You look at the scene today in our nation and you'll see how we've witnessed this with abortion, cohabitation, drug use, gay marriage, on and on. So today we're going to take a crash course in civics since we don't get it in school anymore. We're going to take a look at political parties, how united action increases effectiveness. You know, you get an ox pull a cart, he can pull 1,000 pounds. But if you put 2 together, they can literally pull 5,000. It's amazing, but it's true. We're going to look at criteria for a political candidate. And what's the difference, let's say, between a liberal and a conservative? Now, while Jesus isn't sitting in heaven waving an American flag and humming, you know, I'm proud to be an American, let's remember that the United States has been an example for centuries to the rest of the world. The vision of the Christians who established this nation was that of a city on a hill, bringing the gospel and being a witness to the world. Ronald Reagan, a former president, said, "You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We're going to preserve for our children this last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness." Now, our Declaration of Independence was based on Judeo-Christian principles, not guesswork. Secularists want to avoid this reality. They'll distort this through falsehoods, manipulation of historical facts. But you know, the Declaration said nature's God, supreme judge of the world, our divine protector in whom we rely. That's our true history. You know, the Mayflower Compact stated the reason the Pilgrims came to America, quote, for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith. The U.S. Supreme Court building, you know, served as a church every Sunday until the 1850s. One final quote from a visitor I'm going to give you is this. He came to America to learn the secret of our prosperity and well-being as a nation. Alexis de Tocqueville. He was a French observer who came in 1831, and you know what he wrote? A book called Democracy in America. And here's what he said. There is no country in the world where the Christian religion retains a greater influence over the souls of men than in America. America is great because America is good. If she ever ceases to be good, she will cease to be great.